finances of higher ed in different regards. So you talked about how the Varsity Blues story is a story about what the rich can buy in America. To me, it was also a story, though, about what it says about a system of higher ed that lets people buy their way in, and sort of the desperation, if you will, around donors and things of that nature. The UNC story, similarly, yes, it's about athletics, but it's also about a school trying to keep its finances and fundraising in order through its preeminence in sports, trying to have it all, if you will. The Mount St. Mary's story, the president, the Drown the Bunnies has this element of trying to get the college's finances in order through a very weird sense of what student success means. But like Varsity Blues, it raises a very real question of, Jeff, this is going to be a plug for you, of who gets in and why, and whether they should. And then Bluefield State has this element of cleaning up the finances of a school that's really struggling in West Virginia. And obviously the big spender stories, right? They all directly talk about finances, whether it's the Olive Jar or the safaris to allegedly recruit international students. And then you've got this $6 million renovation at Vanderbilt with Gordon Gee. And as a side note, since you brought up college reporting, one of the stories I wrote at the Yale Daily News when I was a reporter there was when Gee decided to leave Brown after just 2 years for the greener, more posh pastures at Vanderbilt, where his salary would be a couple $100,000 higher and his wife would get a nice tenured post, and presumably before the marijuana got thrown in. So, Jack,
and the story ended after that. Nothing else ever
right,
happened.
exactly. Nothing else. Well, so I'll jump ahead. One of the things that's interesting, I think, is every single time Gee jumped to the next story, presidency, he said it would be his last. Interestingly enough, he promised every single one. So some of these stories obviously are from pre-2008 and the financial crisis that really broke open higher ed's business model, in my view. But I guess I'm curious to hear your take about, what these stories say about the state of higher ed financing.
Oh, you're going to get me to make meaning here, Michael.
I'm trying to be serious for a moment.
Yeah. Damn it. All right. Okay. We should explain Drown the Bunnies, though. That was a college president who he was the president. Simon Newman was the president of Mount St. Mary's. Is that right?
Yep. Yeah. The Mount, as they call it.
Yeah. And
I went to summer camp for basketball. So it's like a very meaningful place for me. Morgan Wooten used to be the coach there. So for the summer. Yeah.
And I think this was a student newspaper reported too, that he had said in some meeting, and that you're looking at these students as cuddly bunnies, and you have to drown the bunnies. Right. They wanted them. I think they wanted them to leave before a certain deadline, so they wouldn't be counted as students.
Right before the first semester, right? So that they wouldn't count in. I mean, I think it was probably
the retention. It was about retention rates, right?
Yeah, right. If you got them out before October, they wouldn't even count as enrolled students or something like that in iPad.
Right. So just in case people were wondering about what this bunny drowning was about, let me explain that. But what's the larger meaning is a great question. I do think that, look, it's a PR problem anytime you have a scandal, right? And if you look at how public opinion has turned against higher education over the past few years, I think one of the biggest single drivers has to be college costs. So it is related to the business model, and it is related to finances. Wellesley College just made news for doing what everyone knew would eventually happen, putting its sticker price above $100,000 a year. You add to that some serious concerns about whether colleges are doing anything for social mobility. Are they helping low-income people have better lives, or are they just perpetuating the good life for people who were born on third base? And there's a lot of evidence that it's the latter. So I think the business model has everything to do with public skepticism toward higher education, specifically college cost. And if you take high cost and little social mobility and toxic national politics, which we have added in the mix now, higher ed is losing the public opinion battle. And that means that the public is a lot less forgiving when things go wrong. And I also think that it stokes internal tensions that create internal conflict. When people are afraid about their futures, they turn on each other. And these are all occasions where different constituencies within a university are turning on each other. Higher education is a machine. We write about it as a machine. It's a delicate machine. It only works if all of these little pieces that really have no business working together actually find a way to work together. Students don't have any real reason to get along with college presidents, no matter what they try to tell you. Faculty are perpetually pissed off at presidents. Donors have a lot of say in what goes on in college education. Politicians have a lot of say, particularly at public universities, but now we're even seeing it privates with the pressure that's coming from the White House. So to get all of these pieces of the machine to work together is a problem no matter what. And when you add on top of it huge financial pressures that no one can seem to figure their way out of, it's no wonder that you're having flame-ups on college campuses. The ingredients are there.
Yeah. Well, okay, so we're going to take a break right there. And when we come back on the other side with Jack, we're going to talk about the professionalization of the presidency and tensions, more about these tensions between different factions on campus. That's ahead on Future You.